Why does he walk like that? The words caught Daniel off guard. He stood frozen at the entrance of the small suburban house his ex-wife lived in, a home that paled in comparison to the luxury penthouse he owned downtown. 8 years had passed since the divorce. 8 long, bitter years. But something in his heart had changed, and he wanted to see his son. Just once. He thought he was prepared. But nothing could have prepared him for what he saw when the little boy walked through the hallway. Before we go further, if you've ever believed in second chances, in the power of love between a parent and child, even after mistakes, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories, where every story is a reminder of the humanity we all carry inside. Daniel Grayson was once named Forbes' youngest self-made millionaire. At 35, he had it all: wealth, influence, and a sea-view penthouse in Los Angeles. But what he didn't have was peace. Or family. Years ago, in the madness of his success, he had let go of the one woman who had stood by him when he had nothing, Emily. Pregnant, scared, and devastated, Emily had walked out of his life without asking for a penny. And Daniel, proud and selfish back then, had let her go. Now, nearing 40, Daniel couldn't sleep. He had everything money could buy, yet he kept waking up to the same haunting dream, a child's laughter echoing through an empty house. He had hired private investigators to find them, not to fight for custody, but just to see his son's face once. When he finally got the address, he didn't call. He just drove. Emily opened the door herself. Her expression didn't change when she saw him. Her hair was shorter, her eyes a little more tired, but the strength in her voice was unchanged. "What do you want, Daniel?" He swallowed. "Just to see him. One time." There was a long silence. Emily stepped aside. "He's in the living room." Daniel walked in slowly. The house smelled of cinnamon and books. It was clean but small. He could hear the hum of a cartoon playing on the television. And then he saw him. A little boy. Blonde curls, blue eyes. His face was unmistakably Daniel's. But his body, his legs moved stiffly. He used crutches. His right foot twisted slightly inward with every step. Daniel's heart clenched. "Why does he walk like that?" he whispered. Emily's eyes softened, but her voice was firm. "Cerebral palsy. From birth. He doesn't feel sorry for himself." "Neither do I." Daniel blinked fast. I didn't know." "Of course not," Emily said quietly. "You never asked." Guilt hit him like a brick. His son had lived 8 years with a condition that made every step difficult, and he had never been there. Not for the diagnosis, not for the physical therapy, not for the nights Emily had probably cried herself to sleep. The boy looked up then. "Mom? Who's that?" Emily walked over and knelt beside him. "That's someone who used to know your mom. His name is Daniel." Daniel knelt too, but didn't get too close. "Hey, buddy." The boy studied him curiously. "Are you a doctor?" Daniel smiled. "No. But I can be your friend, if you want." The boy thought about it. "Do you like dinosaurs?" Daniel chuckled. "I love them. Especially T-Rex." That broke the ice. For the next hour, Daniel sat on the carpet listening to his son talk about fossils and dino facts, and every word felt like medicine to a broken part of him. Emily watched silently from the kitchen doorway. Later, as the boy rested in his room, Daniel walked up to her. "Why didn't you ever ask me for help?" Emily turned to him with tired eyes. "Because I didn't want your money, Daniel. I wanted you. And you chose your empire over us." He looked away. "I regret that every day." "Regret doesn't buy shoes or wheelchairs," she said, her voice cracking for the first time. "I had to fight the world for that boy. I had to hold him up when he cried because the other kids ran faster. I had to explain why he's different. And I did it alone." Daniel's throat tightened. "Let me do something now. Anything. Please." Emily hesitated. "He's your son. He deserves to know who you are. But this isn't about fixing your guilt. This is about being here. Really here." Daniel nodded slowly. "Then I'm staying. As long as he'll have me." Later that night, when Daniel drove away, he didn't go back to his penthouse. He went to a hotel nearby. Something had shifted in him. The man who once walked away from responsibility now felt tethered to something real. And he knew, this wasn't a one-time visit. Because when he saw his son's crooked little smile, he didn't just see a boy. He saw a reason. A reason to finally grow up. Daniel stood at the door the next morning, coffee in one hand, nerves in the other. He had spent the night replaying his son's smile in his mind. The way he had leaned forward when talking about dinosaurs, the way his eyes sparkled even when walking with difficulty. Daniel had built empires, flown in private jets, signed million-dollar contracts. But nothing in his life had ever felt as significant as hearing that little boy say, "T-Rex," with excitement. Emily opened the door again. This time, her expression wasn't cold, it was cautious. A test. Was he going to leave again? Or was he here for real? "I brought breakfast," Daniel said. "And maybe. I was hoping to take him to the park. If it's okay with you." Emily hesitated, then nodded. "He's been asking about you since he woke up. You made quite the impression." The boy, named Ethan, was thrilled to see Daniel again. He immediately asked if he had brought the dinosaur book he promised. Daniel not only brought the book, but a backpack full of art supplies, fossil kits, and even a small stuffed velociraptor. At the park, Daniel pushed Ethan's wheelchair, though Ethan insisted on using his crutches for the first few minutes. The two sat under a large oak tree, sharing snacks and laughter. People walked by, glancing with curiosity at the well-dressed man with the disabled child. Daniel didn't care. He felt proud. He felt like a father. As the sun climbed higher, Ethan looked up and asked the question Daniel had dreaded. "Why didn't you ever come before?" Daniel froze. A breeze passed through the trees, rustling the leaves like whispers. I was scared," he finally said, kneeling in front of his son. "I made mistakes. Big ones. I thought I had all the time in the world, but I didn't realize how much I was missing until it was almost too late." Ethan looked at him, head tilted. "Did you not want me?" Daniel's heart shattered. He reached forward, taking Ethan's small hand. "I always wanted you. I just didn't know how to be the kind of man you deserved. But I want to try now. If you'll let me." There was a pause. And then, Ethan smiled. "Okay. But only if you learn all the dinosaur names." Daniel laughed, tears in his eyes. "Deal." From that day on, Daniel became a regular part of Ethan's life. He went with them to therapy appointments, learned how to strap on Ethan's leg braces, read bedtime stories, and learned the difference between a stegosaurus and a triceratops. Emily watched silently as this transformation unfolded, not overnight, but consistently, and with a sincerity that couldn't be faked. One evening, after dinner, Ethan asked if he could show Daniel something. He led him to his room and pointed to a drawing he'd made. It was a picture of the three of them, Ethan in the middle, holding hands with his mom on one side and Daniel on the other. Above them, in a big, uneven, colorful font, it said, "My family." Daniel knelt down, staring at the crayon drawing like it was a masterpiece hanging in a museum. "That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," he whispered. Ethan hugged him without warning. And in that moment, all the years Daniel had lost melted away. All that mattered was that he had today, and a chance for tomorrow. A few weeks later, Daniel surprised Emily by showing up early in the morning with a proposal, not for marriage, but for partnership. "I bought a house," he said, handing her a folder. "Close to you. Accessible design, ramps, custom therapy room for Ethan. It's in both our names. I want you to have security, forever. Not out of guilt, but because it's the least I can do." Emily opened the folder and looked at the blueprints and the documents. Her lips trembled, but she didn't say anything at first. "You're really trying," she said quietly. "I'm not perfect," Daniel replied, "but I'll never leave him again." They stood in silence. Then, finally, Emily said, "He calls you Dad when he thinks I'm not listening." Daniel's eyes welled up again. "That's all I ever wanted to be." Later that day, Ethan rolled up to Daniel and said, "Hey, Dad, wanna come to career day at school next week?" Daniel smiled, kneeling down. "Of course, buddy. I'll be there. Always." Because sometimes, it's not about how you start, it's about who you choose to become when you're finally ready to show up. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Kindness Stories for more powerful, emotional tales that restore your faith in love, redemption, and second chances.